Welcome to Investing for the Future Lunch Bunch. We are just a group of friends and colleagues who get together and share ideas and what we are doing to try and plan for retirement. This is not financial advice, but just things we are doing as a group and is strictly for educational purposes. It is up to you to do your due diligence on anything we talk about. Today we will be going over a trading bot called Composer Trade. With that, let's get started.
Are you ready, Cameron? Okay, can we go ahead and start? All right, so we've got two subjects we're going to talk about today. I want to do a refresher on the bots because I know we talked about the bots a while back, about 6 weeks ago now. And so we'll kind of do a refresher on that. I've learned a few things from doing the bots. One of the things I learned is you don't want 1,000 bots. So I had originally done 3 or 4 different bots. And what I learned from that is if you really tweak it correctly and do it correctly, you don't need a whole bunch of bots. One, it's perfectly fine. There's still a lot of people that do multiple different bots. I've got down to just one. And this one has made 81.5% yield. I've had it for about 7 months now, I believe. And so, this one, but the cool thing is you can So the cool thing, what I did on this one, so with the bonds, a couple of different features that you could do. You can add IRA money, Roth money, or regular cash, however you want to do it. The cash one, I would not recommend right now because I don't know what my tax look like. That might be a nightmare because these things are trading in and out almost every single day. You have to worry about wash sales. You got a lot of different problems. So I would recommend putting them in an LLC. I have contacted the bot team at Composer. They do not have an LLC option right now. So they're working on that. They should have that within the next year. So this one is an IRA. I basically took 100,000 and I transferred 100,000 from my regular IRA into this one. And because I wanted to try it out and see if it actually worked. And as you can see, it did. So we'll kind of walk through some of these. There are some things on here that you need to know about that I learned the hard way. So I don't want you to learn the hard way. On any one of these bots, it will show you the holdings. So each bot is called a symposium. So if you think of it like a symphony, they call it a symposium, but it's basically all the different sets of rules. And you IT people are going to absolutely nerd out on this because that's all it is. The pseudocode is essentially what the bot is when you build it. When you build it, you tell it different parameters and you tell it how you want each thing to flow. And then it will have a list of different stocks, and you can click on the holdings. It'll show you what those holdings are. So currently this spot has Shopify, SoFi, AMD, Celsius, and these are new. I just added these, Lulu and Google. Originally I had Palantir and I had AMD at 8% instead of 16. And I'll kind of show you what that looks like in the bot as we're going through it. But essentially I swapped these two out because I don't know if you knew or not, but Lululemon has been crashing. It got all the way up to like 450 or so. It's at 230 right now. Now, the bot does have protection in there. If Lulu is below a certain threshold, it'll dump it out and not keep it in the bot. But these two are above threshold, so it bought Google and Lulu both. If you go to bots, then you essentially click on this thing here and go to the edit button. You can see what the bot is actually doing. This thing off to the side is called the back testing. So the back testing will give a preview of what the bot should perform based upon the current algorithm. Now, I learned a couple of things I'll teach you on this that I didn't understand. One thing is annualized return is important, but it's not everything, right? If you're putting in stocks that have crashed, then the annualized return is going to look terrible. Like if you put in a whole bunch of stocks, let's say Lulu, what's that solar one, Ramana? There's a Solar Edge. You put those in there, it's going to say 45% negative return, right? Because it's looking over history. And this back test looks over a certain amount of time. So I think I have it set for a year. Mine was a lot higher. It was like 300 and something because I had Palantir in there. But as you know, Palantir has kind of run away from itself. We're at 500 PE. So this bot had Palantir in it till yesterday. And I was like, I got to get out of that. That's made enough profits, get out of that and move on to the next thing. So what I did is I picked a couple of different new ones. And you can see, think of the workflow as backwards. So whatever you want to happen, you have to create the least amount first and go backwards into the scale. Otherwise, you won't have the results that you want. This spot still doesn't have good protection to the downside. That's one thing I don't like. What I want to do is I want to build something in that says, if the RSI gets to a certain low level, like a crash level, then I want to go ahead and pick up some shares. Maybe if the VIX is spiking to 60 or something crazy like that. It does not have good downside protection, but it works awesome in bull markets. A couple of things that it did. If you scroll to the bottom of this, it will show you all of the trades that it makes. So you can, the history. So this part is exceptional because it shows you, this is a little bit messed up because I changed out the stocks. So it shows you different stuff. But with Palantir in here, it was such a hot stock that it was actually dumping out and going to things like VIX. One day it went to Grayscale. It did Grayscale and NVIDIA. I think you saw that we were looking at yesterday. So Grayscale and NVIDIA swapped out to those, which was awesome because the market was way too hot, and it helped to buffer that out. With this one, it would have essentially just stayed in these different stocks over this period of time. And so the way that it picks these is based upon the blockings. I can kind of show you what that looks like at the top. So it looks for the first block. Yeah, so this is the first major block. It says, based upon the upward criteria, which is things like BOO, NVDL, or NVDX, TECL, a bunch of index funds, right? So standard funds, if those RSIs are too high, then I want to get out of those and move into regular stocks. RSI helps you to determine how hot is a stock. If it's really, really hot, then too many people are buying. So it becomes overbought. Have you ever been to the store and you want to get that one pair of shoes and you can't find the shoes that you want? I have this problem with Puma. Every time I go to the Puma store, they don't have the motorsport shoes. That's the ones I want. They never have them. And so that is an overbought product, right? Anytime a product is overbought, you're not going to be able to, even though you have your money in hand, you're ready to spend, you can't spend it. Stocks are very similar. If they get into the overbought status, then you'll have a serious problem because if there's no buyers, then there's sellers. And as the selling pressure comes in, the stock will go down. And so it helps you protect some of those pieces. It goes in and it says, if the current price of AMD is less than 10-day moving average of the price of AMD, meaning if it's not really kind of ramping high, which AMD is hot right now, so it's going straight up, then I want you to do these things. So it's basically hitting this directly. So right now it's buying SoFi, Shopify, Elm, and Celsius. Now you can get really technical with these. You can say, I only want 10% of this one. I only want 5% of that one. You can kind of break it down like that. I choose to just leave it where they're mixing. Now the downside of that is it's constantly buying and selling shares. But the second that, let's say Celsius jumps 10% in one day, is it going to be an even match with the others if it jumped 10% in one day? What do you think? If all things being equal, let's say $1,000 between all of these, those top four, $5,000, that'd be $200 each. If Celsius jumps 10%, how much are we at Celsius now? Like 220, right? So is it balanced with the others? No. So what a bot will do is it'll immediately sell part of Celsius and split it between the other four. So yes, equal weight distribution. Yeah. So essentially, if you don't want it to do that, you have to set parameters to say, wait 7 days or wait 5 days, stuff like that. You can control that. What I found in the IRA is it's better just to leave it alone. Let it do its thing because you're not paying taxes on that money. You will in the future, or if it's a Roth, you won't. But in any case, the tax advantage or situation matters not. So let the bot do its thing. So I like the balancing piece. I leave it alone for the IRA. For my other portfolio that I had where it's just regular stocks in it, I took that piece out. I said, wait 7 days to take action because Celsius could go up and then it could go down. Then it could go up again and go down. And so it washes out some of that noise. It will split this between these. And then it's a once hit yes stop. That makes sense? So the workflow is as the second that it gets a yes, it stops. And so for this one, hit this AMD, is it less than 10-day moving average? No. So it stops and it does that action. Now, the reason I have all of them built out is because if that's true, then I wanted to skip to the next one. Or I'm sorry, if that's false, I wanted to skip to the next flock because that gives me protectionary measures for every single one. Some of these I'm not as aggressive with. So like AMD, I'm pretty aggressive because that thing's been super hot. That was originally the Palantir one. So Palantir has been crazy hot. So if it drops below 10-day, I want out of it. And yeah, 10 is probably too hot. I had that for Palantir. AMD, I could probably move it down to say 30. 30 days would be fine. Does everybody know what that moving average thing is talking about? I could kind of show that right quick. So what we're looking at, let me just do trading view. You will confirms.
Try.
How many people look at charts?
Nobody, anybody. Although nobody's all his work and nobody's. That's okay. You're recording it. That's
There's a couple of things he mentioned here. He mentioned RSI. RSI is on that chart right there. He's probably going to talk about it. And then also the moving averages are in the top portion. You'll see the moving average is there's two of them actually. Oh, there's one actually, the green one, the green line. Oh, and the blue line. Yeah, there's two of them. So he's talking about, and a lot of people go with 50-day or 200-day, and he's talking about 10-day here. So he's doing a lot shorter moving average. And so it's going to be following the chart as it's going through its peaks and valleys and taking an average of that. Sorry, Chris.
say that it average. Also, hang on, I did 5 10. That would be, it would never sell. Okay, so then we'll do, and I typically try to stick with the bot stick was 1 year, so it's on a 1 year basis. But you can see, so this blue line represents the 10-day. Every time that the oscillation drops below that blue line, then it would sell in the bot automatically, right? Now you can see AMD has been fairly hot, so it would have to get down to close this slide thing out. It would have to drop down to 144 for it to actually execute that 10-day sell. Because you can see that blue line is sitting right at 144 and a half. It's at 159, so that's not likely to happen. So my bot's fine right now, but I think I could probably change that to say 20-day moving average. That might be more appropriate, which would make that line relax a little bit. And so it gives you a little bit more room for that movement. The great thing about the bots are you can just set it and you don't have to mess with it. I don't do anything with that unless I know something has happened and I want to kind of clean it up. So for instance, Palantir has been super hot, red hot. So I want to make sure that I get out of Palantir and put something else in its place, right? So that's really the only tweaks that you have to make to the bot. And that's because I'm doing individual stocks. The nice thing about the bot is if you don't like to do individual stocks, you can put all the ETFs in there. There's several different ETF ones on there that are exceptional. I've seen some that are 500-600% gains over the last 5-6 years. So you can make some really crazy money. It basically just gives you that one flexibility to have peace of mind that somebody's watching for you all the time. Because we got a job to do, right? We can't sit there and click on it and watch it all the time. So I think that's pretty critical. Any questions about the bot? And essentially, since these are all stacked, so it goes through and it says, if this is yes, execute. If no, move to the next one. And it continues to go down. If it comes out that all of these are bad, so meaning all the stocks are down, Celsius down, each one is down, then it will get to the bottom and it'll start looking for alternatives, which is, I think I have NVIDIA. NVIDIA is one. That one does a breakout right there. It hits that block. And then Grayscale. And if those are all bad, then it switches to SPYU, which is a Forex. but that one's going to be down too, right? I just put that in as a hedge against some of the other filters. But if that one's going to be down, if all this stuff's down, that one's going to be down too. And if it's down, it switches to XEXU, which is a bear fund. Basically does an inverse of this SPY, but in bear. So it would say, if all that stuff is terrible, which it will be, that will also be the same as the others if it's terrible, it'll switch to bear fund. If even that one doesn't hit, then it will switch to waste management. Now, what I did is I went through ChatGPT and I asked a bunch of questions. I'm like, hey, what did good in this year? What did good in this year? What did good in this year? Crazy ones were 2021 to 2022 timeframe. The only thing that did anything was oil and gas. Devon, Continental, Chesapeake, these like every single oil and gas stock was up 100, 200%, crazy amounts. But outside of that, if you're not going to get into oil and gas, the only thing that did well was stuff like Cintas. So Cintas, waste management. When things are not doing great, these companies just mint money because they always mint money. But what happens is it's not sexy, right? So nobody's looking at that. Whenever, like right now, if you ask somebody, anybody on the street, name me a stock, and what are they going to say? NVIDIA, right? Or they're going to say, they want something sexy, AMD, or they're going to say something. No one's going to say waste management. But what the truth is that when those stocks are crashing, like NVIDIA and stuff like that, Cintas, waste management, there's another one called RPM. They make coatings. I never even heard of this company. They make coatings for like Rust-Oleum and all these. They got thousands of products. But all the coatings for flat roofs, all that, they make all that stuff. That company just absolutely prints money. That's all they do. And no one knows about them. And right now the stock's crashing. Why is it crashing? Because no one's buying it. No one's buying it because it's not sexy. We're in a sexy time right now. Everything's bull market going up. And so those are the kind of things that you want to filter into when things are bad. Those kind of stocks will do really well. And most of them pay dividends too. I don't think the dividends of those are super high, but they do. I think they do have. Yep, that's it. So this spot is fairly good. I would say its one weakness is it's not good for downside protection. It has to be really, really bad for it to actually trigger and go into that bear fund. In fact, in this last crash we had, it didn't hit it. So it didn't hit. And what I realized is that you really need to leverage it against the RSI. If the RSI gets below about 35 to 38, things are usually pretty bad. And that's when you start dumping into bear funds.
Yeah.
It does. So you can take this spot, you can share bots with people, you can export bots, you can do all that stuff. I think this bot is actually posted into the Discord. You go scroll back up to the top, and I've got this was a little bit altered. I changed it a little bit, but not too much. Like I said, I added Google and I swapped out Palantir with AMD. So it's a little bit over.
That's taking operating.
To do a back test. You can do a back test. Yeah. Yeah. It's not the same.
I guess it's a knowledge.
Yeah.
Trust me, they give my important because I misunderstood one of his instructions. Why if it executes, if you scroll up there where he's got still have MD
Yeah.
and I still have change only. Well, I went with it this morning because he said, hey, I switched up Google MD or Google Palantir. And so I went to yeah. And then he told me, oh, and I changed my allocations so that AMD, though AMD and K are not 80%, but now it's on Google are 80% where AMD is. So I got to go today now. Or 245 to make that change.
That's exactly my thought. During the same run, S&P 500 did 33%. So if I can double that, I'm happy. Or 10x, I'm thrilled, right? That's fantastic.
Because right now, even with my Jason, it's still sitting at 2. It's taking its downside is only in 3.
Yeah, that's one thing you have to be watching too. If the standard deviation gets too far out of whack, then you're asking for trouble because it's trading too often or it's trading in and out of instruments. It could get really hairy where it trades into something, goes down, and then it dumps that and goes back to something else, and that something else goes down. You can get kind of caught into, but I think kind of a balance between mixing ideas with solid investment options is probably the way to do that.
Yeah, what's the phone?
It's 500 a year, I think.
That's charges 300.
Yeah.
200 to 300. Yeah. That's the you don't see.
Yeah.
Unless the full
384. That's a great question. That's an awesome question.
So when I first set it up, I set it up as 300 because I was initially it wouldn't let me until I put some in a normal account, into a regular stock account. It wouldn't let me bring over my money from an IRA. And so until just recently, I had $300 just sitting out there, and I just recently transferred that back to my account. So it wasn't just sitting there because, as Chris said, I'm leery about what's my, I want to put it into there, but if it goes up, and if it went up 50% like that, I'm just worried. What's the wash? What's all the tax? What are all the tax implications of it?
It scared me to death, right? So you could see this account. I originally had 30,000 in that account, and it went to 42 and a half. And I got spooked. I took 30,000 out, and I'm gonna just wait and see what the taxes look like, and I'll let you guys see what that looks like. Yeah, that's house money. That's all house. So yeah, it's 380, 385 a year. Then, so that's a great question. You said, how much should I put in? So with the trading in and out, the oscillations can burn you if you only have a small amount. So I learned this. My son has I set him an account here, and I learned that with his. So we put 1,800 in there, and it's down to 1,200. So I think you probably need to have about 8,000, 8 to 10,000 for this to do well.
Both stocks.
Absolutely.
Stop it. Like $7 billion, $8 billion.
Right. That's exactly right. And it will buy fractionals. It does fractionals. So it does pretty good.
Yeah.
Almost if you look at
Did you show them the list of ones that are out there? Some you can buy, some you are free.
oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
I asked that. I talked to the CFO about that at this company, and he said they've talked about it. And they have decided whether they're going to do it or not. They've been adding a bunch of other features. They have a new feature called Trade Now. They added 2 new things within the last couple of weeks. They have Trade Now, which you could actually make the execution right away. It only trades once a day, so that's usually set at a time interval. When I first started doing the bot, the trade interval was locked at 3 o'clock. So it was from 2:50 to 3 o'clock. So you couldn't decide when.
Is it
Now,
what must be
it's because they do sweeps. So they basically take everybody's transactions and sweep them with one. That's how they're able to get away with only $380 a year. Otherwise, your trade costs would be more than that, right? And so they do sweeps. And so they made it where they'll sweep at different times. So if you want to go at noon, you can go at noon. If you want to go at 10 o'clock, 9:30, you can set when you want to go. I think they probably did that because their sweeps were getting huge. They were doing all within a 10-minute window, and they were just doing millions of transactions at a time. So now they got to spread out, and they're still considered that one sweep because it's only one per customer. It's called Composer.trade. Yeah.
Composer.trade.
Yeah. So you'll see some funny ones on here. They have all kinds of different.
You can see on that one, if you look at that's one that you have, just probably individual.
Oh, so you can sell your bot. Ooh.
But look at
Yeah.
look at the drawing. Yeah.
Oh, it's almost 50% drawdown.
You're talking.
Let's talk about that a little bit too. The drawdown I learned is not from the top. So like if it went up to here, it's not 50% from here. It's 50% from entry.
It's
Yeah. So it's going to be particularly nasty, right? It's not 50%. It's probably, it could be 80 or 90. So you have to think about that if you're watching these drawdowns. In fact, I don't even pay attention to that anymore. I'm more worried about what the annualized return and things like the Sharpe ratio. You don't want this. I have a cut minus above 2, which is riskier. Absolutely.
downward. Oh, what stocks?
Yes.
All the potential going up.
Yes.
This second stock.
2 other things that they added these a couple weeks ago. They have a go to cash option. So you can click a button and it goes to cash. You're completely out until the next trading window. So you can liquidate bot. So you can completely close out the bot. So there's those 2 options, which I like a lot.
So it gives you that protection.
I've used it a couple of times. Last week when it got really dicey, I'm like, cash. It was really oscillating pretty heavily, and the bot was 100% in Ubix. So I went to cash for just a 3-hour window, just for it to calm down, and you move on to the next thing.
So I just wrote this that since you have like multiple accounts, I have a bot. Then you have the same bot in like a accounts. Cloned version.
I tried to build it. I tried to build it at UiPath. I failed. It's a pain in the ass. So
They're not giving anything by it.
no, but you can scrape the listing. So what I did with the bot, the UiPath bot, is I was going in here, go to my portfolio. UiPath would go in here and it would look at the holdings and it would say, I have, because it'll show you the percentages. There's also an export button on the Symphony that you could export to a CDS. So on my bot, I would export the CDS and then it would grab those options and then trade at Fidelity. I didn't get it finished. If you want to help me build that, that would be awesome. I don't know where. Yeah, I know. But I'm with you. How awesome would it be to take a bot that made 80% in 7 months, 6 months, and trade options with that? Right? You could buy the same thing. You could probably make 900% or like a lot more. So I like the idea, especially because if it's going to cash when things get bad, it'll just liquidate your options too, right? So I had thought of it. I have not done it, but I do like the idea. Then it's red hot, so it's up. It's up today as well. Plus, this gives you a chance to be able to monitor, right? If Celsius starts to really decline, which it has been lately, and it continues to decline, it gets below that blue line. The second it drops below the blue line, it's going to dump it out and put something else in its place. And so it's constantly watching for you. It's thinking about stuff and taking the emotions out of it.
So since you have a bot, I think
It doesn't record that way.
since you have the bot, like for example, some Nancy Pelosi bot, somebody have it.
Yeah.
And then somebody can buy it.
Yeah.
When they buy it, so do they get for example, I own the Nancy Pelosi and then Russia bought the bot from me. So if I make the changes to Nancy Pelosi bot, does Russia get the changes? No, right? It's like a clone.
He made changes.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
I can buy this right now.
Yeah, but I mean, if they make changes, you may not get those changes, right?
You will not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
These are like they're like copies of
one-time cloning. Yeah.
If a friend puts a movie on a DVD or on a flash drive, it hands it to you.
Yeah.
If the movie's modified, you don't know about that.
It's a clone.
It is. That's the bad part.
Yeah, because if they allow it, I mean, you can still run the bot and then everybody can use the bot
Oh, they could just
with
crash.
potential
portfolio.
risk. Yeah.
Crash. portfolio. Yeah, we could just, all you have to do is select that. And this account, I think I have still $8,000 or $9,000.
But
Now,
how much?
no, it's free.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, these are free. So I could just say, I could add the 900.
Oh, you can add how much you have in your portfolio.
Yeah, whatever I got in cash. So
About
in this one, I've got 8,000 pending to go into the bot, and then I've got 960 in cash left. So I could buy this, and then what it'll do is it will it'll buy it. It'll confirm buy, and it will show up in your portfolio listing then.
About the policy plan.
Yeah, now I got the Pelosi bot right here. See, and it's pending transaction because I have mine set to trade at 3:00. I let this default. Yeah, I could cancel that one, but it will put $900 into that bot, and then I'll
it
have
shows
two
the
bots.
difference. It says like buy copy.
Yeah. See, buy copy. Yeah.
It's probably may not be taking all the changes if somebody makes.
But no, because mine says Moose Bot copy is what mine does.
It's just a copy. It's not.
because you can modify that copy.
Because I can modify it. So say I don't like, decide that, what I would never do. That Chris has no clue as what he does. And I'm a god at trading, which I'm not. I could go something stupid, put it all in BBAI.
I see this.
So, those kind of things. So you can modify it to say, hey, I think he's a little aggressive on saying using his 10-day. I want to go to a 20 or 30 day. I can modify it for purposes.
Easy. It's too. When the you get picked on channel. So he a bot, and people are basically taking the subscriptions from his service. He's basically monitoring your accounts like through the bond. He's basically monitoring your accounts and taking your account and then showing the profits. So he cannot transfer that.
But that's what I wanted to do with this.
I don't know which tool it is, but that's what I'm asking. They have a call and you can get feedback. Say like,
I wanted to do UiPath. I could set up a bot that is exceptional, and then cabbages onto Fidelity account trades for them. But you would need to have SEC license for it. So
Yeah, get your Series 7
yeah,
Or Series 63.
yeah.
63 or
Yeah,
63.
63.
So that would be one roadblock to clear, but I think that would be pretty exceptional because then you could be monitoring and saying, "Oh, Palantir's too high. Let's take that out. The customers don't want that. Let's go to something else."
Because you're the
Right.
bond manager at that.
Right.
Well, Then before the start of any of these, we wouldn't have to say this is not.
This is actual advice.
This Pelosi bot is pretty good. You can see they've got a little bit different, right? They're sorting 90-day moving average return, and so it selects top one. So this one says, out of these 5, don't pick everything, pick one. Yeah,
That's actually pretty. I was looking at it.
this
That's
one's
pretty good.
This one's pretty good. If you don't like having a whole bunch of stocks, then you could have everything in there and just say, "We'll pick the best one." Now we'll trade more because it's going to every time one of those moves up, it's gonna, but it will grab high flyers, right? If Nvidia's really rocking, just stick with Nvidia and go. So that's
like,
kind of
like today.
like today. I don't know if it's a free trial or not. I can't remember.
You can you could create an account and then you can fund it later.
I think it's 30 days. Yeah, I think it's 30 days.
Because I had created an account and I funded it, but I haven't done anything with it yet.
Well, you could maybe create an account, put $300 in, save the account, and then you can go look at there. You don't have to
Yeah, because the reason why I did it, because I want to see like what other people are doing.
sell a subscription because you get the 30-day or 14. I can't remember the trial was 4 days. So
This is interesting what he's doing. He's looking at if the 8-day RSI is greater than 90%. So he's basically saying it has to be within that threshold range.
Every stock is.
Yeah. And these are pretty flexible. You can do all kinds of stuff on here. You can tell it greater than, less than. You can do equal to. like I said, it's all pseudocode, but you can get pretty complex the way you stack them and build them. At some point, it doesn't matter. What I learned, I spent about 100 hours on doing my bot, and just because I was like, I wanted to know every little detail. But one of the things that I learned is that if you do too many tweaks, it gets down to where it's not going to make any difference. Like it's 1% or it's a 0.5%, or it gives you an extra 1%, but then maybe the risk goes up or something like that, or the drawdown goes up. It's all kinds of weird stuff. So I don't think that it gets so complex that some of these are so pretty complex that they're trading so often that it's Felicity bot. It looks like it has SOGS, NVIDIA, AMD, and then it has
It's not too bad.
DBD. I never heard of that one. XLE.
That's a energy sector.
Yeah.
And then SOGS. No, it's just trying to get people to grab his bot. No.
Oh,
Because
because
he
it
has-
has NVIDIA, and that's why it's called massive.
Oh yeah, she's got like hundreds of different dogs.
Sitting in the website. It's just like all stuff's going very nice. Quantum.
All the political.
Well, there's those quantum.
Yeah,
There's the quantum. There's quantum tracks all. If you want to track they track almost everybody. All the politician. If you want to find out what your senator's trading or the congressman, if they're trading, you can usually find it on that page.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's the one. She made like at least 1,000 plus 6 months. She has the incentive. She jumped in and she bought it.
That's why you follow her.
There is like one of the first quarters, the other one like some cheap stuff.
I mean, a couple of them. Some of them are no brainers, like they're pretty
know one of
common
those-
stuff. Some of them were like, I never even heard of that one. Up from those.
I don't remember the year.
I've got one. Place the quantum. I'll post that one in the
But
Discord.
the one you shared
There's
is
a couple others that they have places where
The one I shared has like bar lines that shows what the return was for each senator. So it was really
Yeah.
colorful. It was kind it's fancy, yeah. But it breaks it all down, like who was the best trader and all that stuff.
the only about that is not
That's the downside, right? They only do a file every 3 months. So if they get it NVIDIA in January, you won't know till March.
Yeah.
That's
it's
the
the
down.
same as if you're looking at some the bucket or whatever when they TNAVs.
There's
Yeah.
the quantum.
TO and some of the other
Yeah.
ones. That's when you'll find out what they did the last 3 months, not necessarily what they're doing this month.
That should be a red flag that they have to file 13.
Yeah, so the beauty is like, I mean, the stock, but sure, it's not run in the next 3 months. Because if that runs, somebody plans it like it's in trading or like a whatever.
That's
So
a
the
good
problem
point.
is you do realize that Congress has exempted themselves from inside it.
But still, anytime they buy the stocks, you may not see the run in like first 3 months or 4 months or 6 months. All of a sudden, overnight, so you see after 6 months, like,
That's what we want to cover your other top.
No, yeah, we'll cover that next week. So the next topic that I had was I put together, I was messing around with this. Have you guys used the Prezi AI?
Yeah, and about to.
It's pretty good. I was pretty shocked.
Chris.
So there are some better ones out there. There's one called, I think it's Miracle AI, but they're pretty expensive. Prezi is free, and they let you use the AI bot a couple times free as well. So you just type and tell it what you want, what kind of presentation you want,
they play the presentation.
and it'll create the presentation for you. So this one was pretty good. And this one, I wanted to talk about, I call it emotional intelligence, but you could call it whatever you want. It's really about whenever your portfolio gets to a certain level, it gets stressful, right? If you have big drops, it becomes stressful. So we'll talk about that next week. But anyway, I put try this Prezi out. It's pretty cool. And it does these nice transitions. So you can tell it does transitions to the pages.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
That's pretty nice. And it Yeah, so it's pretty nice. It allows you to be able to just float in and out of the different pieces. But anyway, next week we'll talk about that because I think that's one of the most important things. It's usually whenever I start one of my finance classes, that's the first subject, right? Because to me, that is the most important piece. You can learn how to do anything. You can click and clack, and you can always learn how to do anything. The main thing is that how do you manage your emotions as you're going through the journey? When you lose $500 or you lose $10, you're okay with that. You're like, oh, well, that's just lunch, or oh, that's just I would have bought a dress, or I would have bought some shoes. Whatever the thing is that you like to do, you think of it that way. But so we'll kind of go into some of the details of that next week. Next month. No, I don't think people want to do this. I don't think people want to do this every single week. No. Yeah, that would get intense. You guys got any questions about the bots, or you would like me to post the bot to the Discord? I can do that. This would be the new one because I made all the changes to this one that I want to make. And like I said, I put Google in there, I moved AMD up to a larger position or fat. So I'll probably leave a 10-day protection. But like I said, the bots they're fantastic. You really don't have to do anything. Just set it, let it do its thing. Heck, watch your back, which is I like a lot. Otherwise, you'd be like, oh, I forgot about that one. I just try to fix everything. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
No. So it depends on the type. So IRAs for transfers, there's an IRA portfolio and you say Fidelity, and then you tell it how much you want to draw out. And what I did is I made sure that I had that much cash in my Fidelity account. Right? But you don't want it to sell stuff in your portfolio to do that. You cannot transfer from a 401k. So just make that clear. It's one of the reasons I never advise people to take their IRA money and move it into a 401k. I know condo, they tell you to do that. Don't do that. Because if you have an IRA outside, then you have flexibility to do things like the bots. Once you move it into a 401k, that money is now managed by the company. And so you don't have flexibility to do what you want. Now, with that said, our 401k plan at Continental is probably the best in the whole state, probably the best in the country, because they offer two options. One is you could move it to a brokerage account. You can take all of your funds and trade the power you want, a brokerage account. That is very, very powerful. Most companies do not do that. Continental does. The other thing that Continental does is they allow you to trade options on your 401k. That's crazy. No company does that. It's very, very, very rare.
What's nice now with the options side is that you can actually do it all electronically versus how we first did it. You had to do all this paperwork and send it in and sign it. And now you can just go in, click.
Just go in
And
say, I want to
if you're interested in it, let me know, because I've got a whole video. I've got documentation on how to do that. Because like personally, I still leave about 40% of mine in the CLR side of things into their mutual funds. Because if you look at it, there's what, 15 total, maybe 27 total if you start including the time-based ones, which I would never invest in. But you can then use the brokerage link and just have it strictly into the brokerage link. And then that's exactly like Chris was telling you. You can do everything you need to do of trading options, trading. Now you can actually get ETFs that aren't available in our normal account. Then the other thing I would always say is that anytime you leave any company, and if you have anything sitting at a previous company, get it out of their system. Put it into your own either IRA or your own Roth, because then you can manage it and not have to worry about going back to them to do anything. The other
100% went to the broker. I don't
I know my,
100%.
but if there is an option, like,
well, and the
No, I would too.
well, and the other thing that I will say that can do, because I constantly, is that they'll consider you can do it a hardship without getting hit with the extra 10% withdrawal penalty.
Yep.
So you'll just get taxed at normal income. So I do that for at least one trimester for my daughter every year. So, and that takes out, and that tells you, hey, I'm going to use just the CLR side of the account, or do I want to also include the brokerage link? To date, I only use CLR. That's why I actually keep 40% and 60%, so I can hit that with anything that I'm doing brokerage.
Oh, there's hundreds of bots. There's thousands out there. What I did basically bots and try to figure out. Like conclusion I came to is things. The more complex bot is, the more likely this thing is going to not go right. I don't do too much. Some of the bot are nested if statements that are absolutely nuts. Just thousands different sections. Then you do too many things, then it's getting right there. So I like it simple. So I chose to do 6 ducks, and then I pitched 6 and 6. Of those, I have 2 that are split out. So they're half portfolio of what the others are. So 4 and 2, or 5 and 2, I can exact. But essentially, I don't want to have a whole bunch of different things that it could be trading. It's just focusing on. It's real dollars. Yeah. I don't know about paper trading. But you can.
We're not.
Oh, even with and just
The TDs.
closer, but the other one, but yeah, well, yeah,
Is still there with the TD bank. Something custom.
no, it's with a stuff's with Chun Swab.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Swab.
They're all getting solid.
Yeah, I see when
Yeah.
my taxes.
They're all getting consolidated right now, which is probably not good for consumers. Yes, sir.
Minimum investment of like 8 to 10,000. Was that like for this specific bot?
Well, it's because of the math. So if you think about it's the purchase per year is around $500. You're at 5% of 10 grand, right? So I know from experience bots to make more than 5%, but that's pretty steep, right? If you can put 100 grand in there, then now you're down to fractional amounts total. So it makes it to where it's washing out that cost as an actual fixed cost. So that's why I recommend that. If you put $1,000 in there, it costs you $385 a year. It's not going to be worth it, right?
Yeah.
You got to make 35% just to hit, just to break
Just be
even.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And because that also does come out of your direct account. They don't take that money. They bill you. So it doesn't take that money out of whatever you've put into that account. So that's the other thing to keep into consideration is that it actually will bill you whatever checking or savings or whatever you've tied that to. That's where that'll
The
bill
other
it
thing
against.
is, if you put 10 grand in, it makes sense. You got 20 grand. Now you get to it's like really making a difference in your life instead of, put $1,000 in it makes 1,000. That's not going to change. And so that's that commitment. And the other perfect, the bot went down, say about 6% at one point. So it's not perfect. It did do some shuffling around, made some adjustments that made it stock.
Yeah, it's nice. Another thing to think about is that's a fee for. So if you do that 10,000, but you say you want to do say 10,000, say in just a regular brokerage account, but you want to do another 10, whatever you might have in an IRA type deal, that fee's only allows you to do both of those. So it's not per account; it's just one fee to use that.
And if
So
you want to build up to that, I would suggest doing a Roth IRA somewhere else because you could make deposits to that over time. You could do 200 a month or 300 a month, whatever you afford. Let that build up to say 8,000 or 10,000. Then move that into bot. That would be probably the way that I would do, because that way you can, if you get the bot now and you start doing deposits into the bot, you're already paying that $300 while you're waiting for your account to grow. Whereas almost all brokerage is free. Pretty much. They charge trade fees, or they charge for you to have it there. So
Thank you.
Do we need to keep track of trades if it's in IRA, or you don't really have to,
In an IRA, you don't have to do anything.
just like any other IRA, it'll work the same way.
You get I think it's a 1098 at the end of the year that shows what the amount was that you file with your taxes, but that's it. There's no trade transactions on there or anything.
Okay.
Whereas with the other, it's like it has to show every single transaction.
Yes. Is also freaking Oklahoma. It'll say, what's this? Because I switched over from using an accountant. It's entire whole account. Should have contact. What does this mean? Because I'm like, this to me it wasn't there, but I had which was Geo, which was a new account a year. Had we consider that as the environment also takes well some of the ETFs. That simple once I understood. Right. That's it. It's every these trades.
This is good in IRA account, not in taxable. That's pretty much the
That's
idea.
my read on it. Now there is a way that you could do what's called mark-to-market on your trade, mark-to-market accounting. I have not found a tax person that will do it that way. So that's a problem. I know people are doing it because I've seen some videos from people that use Composer that are doing it that way. But they have to be, I don't know how they're doing it because I know you can do mark-to-market accounting in an LLC, but Composer doesn't have the ability to open an LLC or under that LLC into this account. So it'd have to be by your social, which complicates things. Market. There's some way to do it. I just don't know how to do it. If they can open it with an LLC, I will immediately move my LLC money over there. Because then if it was at 100 and then it was 150, just pay the tax 50 and write off things for the business, right? Yeah. But then it won't matter that there's a whole bunch of transactions. That's the tax guy's problem. So, but for right now, I think IRA, probably Roth IRA is probably the best way to go. I have all mine in a regular IRA just because I don't have a lot of Roth money. I have only. No. I want to change that though.
So let's see.
Yes. I've tested that. Yes. I swept 30,000 a couple weeks ago out of a regular account. It works. Yeah, that's a good question because this is not with a brokerage firm. It's so trusting that they're doing the right thing. Well, that's one of the reasons I didn't transfer the lion's share of my portfolio there. Is that thing. I don't know what that looks like yet. But it's done exceptionally well. It's about on par with my other account. That's with me trading options, selling puts, buying calls, all kinds of crazy stuff. The bot almost matched my portfolio. So it's pretty good. And it's completely hands off. I had to do nothing.
Because it's doing all the work for
It's
you.
doing all the work for you. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Will it always work? Probably. I mean, we're in a bull market, so I mean, yeah, did I crush the S&P? Yes, but again, that's a bull market. I need to get that bot massaged perfectly to where it's making good choices when things are not great. Then it might even be making money while everything else is going down.
That's the key.
That's the ticket right there. I don't have that yet because I need to build in RSI buffers for their markets.
So you kind of need to let the market go down in order to test it out.
Yes. You know what happens. I think from what I've looked at, anytime the RSI gets to about 38, it's time to just completely go full barrel, especially if it's at 38, say, Teckle or Boo or any regular fund stuff. Or, yes, lots of. A lot of them use Boo, use Teckle. They use, there's one called, there's like, there's one, it's like a UVIGs, which is a 2X. It's, you can do just VIGs. There's all kinds of stuff. And there's one bot that I copied. Yeah, it's not all about. He was like, "Hey, Rochelle, have you heard of this?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, I hadn't heard of almost none of those. There's tons of ETFs.
And most of them like 2x, 3x leverage.
A lot of them were 2 or 3x leverage. Yeah.
So
It's you can, but it's not perfect. And here's why: that proliferation of those types of ETFs is new. Most of them were within the last 2 years, and so whenever you do a back test spot, it's going to tell you, "Hey, I can only go back to February of 22. Those didn't exist. I don't know when." It's all the standard ones. You can go back 10 years if you want. Yeah, my bot, I could go back really far because I don't have anything.
that's what it's here. That's what we're here for.
Thank you, Cameron. Chris, go on. Steve.